Huh. There it is over here. Yeah, that's Danchi, all right. And get a load of that mega form down there.
Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah. Almost resembles a Disney princess. Maybe a little bit more than Mega Gardevoir. Hi, I'm here to get the promo card for Mega Diancie. Wait, is it free?
Yep.
Alright, just checking. Kind of cute. Well, I got my Diancie. Very happy I did. She's going to be very useful to me later on, especially when I decide to get out the Sapphire. I almost wish I could have the chance to interact with all my Pokemon myself. Wait, that's kind of how this next story goes. Perfect for this week's Pokevember review. Well, again, we've got no time to lose, so let's get the ball rolling with this week's Pokevember review. This week, we've got a different type of Pokemon fanfic for you all. As you all know, there have been many side projects for Pokemon. And trust me, I know. So have many others. Just take a look out there. There's been AU Pikachu, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Trozei, Pokemon Dash, Pokemon Conquest. The list goes on and on. And no, I'm not counting Coliseum and XD, as those are compatible with the official main series titles, particularly Gen 3. Again, oddly appropriate considering the remakes release in about a week. But this week, we got a little possible side story. You could argue whether or not they are or not like the main series, but unlike Periwinkle and Violet, they don't take place in an alternate version of the Pokemon world. Rather, they are taking place in an alternate version of our world. This is known as Pokemon Advanced Heroes.
So you wanna be a messer up? Do you have the skills to be?
Of course, it seems highly unlikely that Pokemon would have a way of entering our world. But this is sci-fi and a fanfiction. Things like that can happen. Of course, we need our explanation. Here, the story introduces us to a potential new Nintendo console, building off of the Wii U, known as the Virtual U. Despite the name, it does not follow the Virtual Boy's infamy. The story pipes up how unhackable the device is, something Apple would probably try to sue for. Of course, our story is not on the machines, but a group of kids in the year 2023, consisting of the Brody, the orphan, Akira, the student teacher, Ty, the brainiac, who unrealistically skipped to the 9th grade despite being 7, Akiko, the bratty, overconfident tomboy, and Yoko, the nice rich girl who simply wants friends. Ironically, Yoko would become the name of an OC the author would use for his main female OC. So who's the author, you may ask? Why, none other than my good old Ibo, Pika Twig, because I like the guy too much, and I'm too lazy to search beyond my comfort zone for new fanfics. But it does fall under the requirements for Pokevember, so I'll allow it. Anyway, what happens here is that a rival character by the name of Raven somehow hacks into the virtual you for the first time, causing some sort of freaky power surge, which causes the borders between realities to bend and break. Wait, what? This isn't Digimon! Next thing you know, you'll be telling me the main kids end up doing something crazy, like summoning something from a video game to combat other creatures from a video game to defend themselves and save the world, while they themselves represent different human aspects. Wait. Yes, okay, this is a total Digimon knockoff, with how the monsters infiltrate the human world to some extent. But there are other things behind it to make it different. For example, the fact that the characters start off with 3 Pokemon from the get-go, and how the capture system works. Not to mention, when a gym is shown in the most recent chapter is revealed, it breaks from the norm of a specific type of Pokemon and instead focuses on a battle style. But then again, that's spoilers, and I apologize. Still, I won't go too far into it. It's another K+ action-adventure story published January 13th this year and last updated April 15th. 6 reviews, 4 faves, and 5 followers. Really poor, I know. Still, it's okay if you want a sort of twist on the formula. But enough of that. Time for our hits and misses. Explanations. Now, this is a big thing in stories in general, such as what's important to the plot and when to elaborate. Here, we, yes, it's another collab with me, managed to make it pretty good. We explained the virtual you itself early on as it's essential to the plot, but not too much to draw away from the cast. We also explained how the Pokemon came into this real world, and more importantly, explain parts of the backstories that have more effect on the characters. I find it pretty good. The lack of content and battles compared to the character development. And now don't get me wrong, I think character development is important. In fact, I think the most important part of the story is having a believable, relatable main character, whether it be male or female. But then again, I know when some stories require more action in them, and in the case of Pokemon, where there is usually at least one battle per episode of the anime, it's kind of a bummer we don't get much in combat. Well, okay, we do get a battle per episode, but in comparison, sometimes we need more action than character development in certain cases for a change of pace and to form the plot. Pokemon in the real world, instead of humans from the real world entering the Pokemon world. I know the typical trope of real characters and Pokemon fan fictions is usually a character from another world ends up in the Pokemon world, whether it be the main series or Mystery Dungeon, or the character in question is already from one of these worlds. However, the idea of Pokemon in the real world hasn't been touched upon, and depending on your point of view, it may be creative or may not. Again, it's all dependent on your taste, but this can be a bad or good point. Another final analysis, and like with Periwinkle and Violet, I can't give a good scoring. I'll most likely return to these construction yard stories later when they're complete and set in the fanfiction library. But for now, this story gets a B+, above average. Nothing really too special. But if you like it, more power to you. The concept is overall okay. The characters are well written so far, and I appreciate where Pika's coming from with the story. But it has things here or there that may turn off some people, which prevents this story from getting a higher score. And it's not like this has no reviews to make it unappreciated, so the B+ is sort of me being a bit generous. But I'm trying to show the good side of fan fiction, that the internet apparently hates. Regardless, that's all the time we've got today. Next week, I'll get out of Pika's hair for the stories and move on to another thing. Till then, this is KKD Silver. I'll catch you next week for more Pokevember. Giant. I just gotta wait for Pokemon Forest. I'm excited!